Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Basscast Radio. It is Wednesday night. That means it's time to hit the record button right here. Guys, welcome back to another great episode. We've got a lot happening, guys, here at the basscast.com as well as Basscast Radio. But before we get started, I got a couple things I want to talk about really quick before we bring all my boy Trip in up here. Dockside Radio. Dockside Live. If you guys haven't had a chance to listen, we're on at 10 o'clock on there. I had the opportunity to listen to part of us this past week. We sounded great, by the way, man. Grove Street Radio in Bedford, Virginia. You can listen to our show there as well as the video part of it is at TAOO, the American Angler Outdoors. So you can watch Basscast Radio as well. Plus, I haven't brought the flashcards up here yet. They're still downstairs. But anywhere you listen to podcasts, you can listen to us. And you guys are listening. We had a great week last week. Thank you all for listening. We had like 200 listens the day it launched. And that's pretty good for us. Usually it takes 200 for a couple of days. So 200 for you guys. Thank you. It's all Thomas's deal. We appreciate you, Thomas. You're the best in the whole entire world. But yeah, so thank you guys all for listening. Really, really appreciate that. Also, if you haven't checked out, we got a new show. We don't have a new show, but we brought the show back. And if you guys didn't check out the latest episode of Before the First Cast, it's up now. You guys can head on over and take a listen. And it's regarding swim baits. And we got our boy, which I'm sorry, I'm you guys all know I roll. Mr. Calvin Herndon is currently doing Before the First Cast. So he dropped the first episode. We dropped that up on Tuesday. And I think about 100 people have already listened to that already. So thank you guys. That's the audio version podcast that I dropped about a year ago. And I've dropped the ball on it since then. Hey, I'll admit it, 110%, guys. Schedule is crazy. So it's my fault. But Calvin Herndon has taken over Before the First Cast. If you'd like to be on Before the First Cast, the reason why I kind of created that show is for episodes where you can't stretch it out an hour. You know, it's about 30 minutes with a tackle company, or like this is a swim bait company he had on. I know he's got the people from Triton Boats are going to be on. So he's got a lot of guests already lined up. The dude's working his butt off. So thank you, Calvin, for being a part of that. Also this week, dude, the newsletter popped out On the Line. Thank you all for checking that out. We're up to about 1,600, almost 1,700 subscribers on the newsletter. And we had an awesome open rate, even with the holiday, and it even be dropping on a Sunday because it's the way it happened. But thank you guys all for checking that out. On the Line, more people are subscribing. And I'll be honest, that's what I'm going to be pushing in 2025 at a lot of the shows. But if you haven't subscribed yet, in the subscription, what do you call it? Good gosh, in the information below the podcast, the description of the podcast, I have the link there where you can subscribe to On the Line as well as our Patreon. So you can subscribe to either one. We really appreciate you guys being a part of that. So that wraps it up for me. But guys, we are only 2 days. When this goes up, we'll only be 1 day away from the Rivers and Roads event. We got our boy Trip on with us again. He's going to give us the latest update on what is happening and what is going on at Rivers and Roads. So hold on. We got a special guest that's going to pop on with us here in a second, and I want to bring him in. All right, guys. So we got double trouble here. We got Mr. Snooky with us, and we got Trip. Two people who are handling. The only one we're missing, guys, is Steve. We had him all last week, but two people who are running the Rivers and Roads event. Let's start with you real quick, Tiffany. What's your part of this event, and what can we expect to see from you, man? I know you're gonna be handling social media. That's your key.
Yeah, so I'm super excited to be included in this. I have fished the James River and out of Hopewell ever since I was in my mama's belly. So it means
Hmm.
a lot to me to be able to support the state of Virginia and that area. So I'm really humbled and excited to be a part of this. I think my role is just going to be hyping it up, like bringing people aware of what we're doing and why it's important and how they can get involved. And also too, like, kind of making people push each other a little bit. I want to see some really big bags for this tournament. Like, I want to be able to have a little bit of a sore arm the next day when I help uh, do all this at the event. So I'm really excited for it.
All right, yes, you heard earlier we got Trip with us. Trip told me some really awesome news a minute ago, man. How many boats you have signed up?
We are up to 68 right now, and registration will remain open. We're going to draw tonight.
Yes.
All my anglers that are signed up will get an email tonight with their order. Um, but as of right now, we're going to keep registration open. And that was kind of a rookie mistake. I didn't put a date for closure, so I'm not going to shoot
Uh-oh.
anybody. If you want to come right up until the deadline, as long as you get the boat in the water and be registered by 6 o'clock Friday morning, I'm gonna let you fish. That's a mistake I made, and I'm not going to let that hurt anybody from spending a day out in the water and taking a chance to win $10,000.
Cash on hand at the boat ramp. I'm not going to tell you what I know one tournament director did here. And he would take your money at the boat ramp, but it'd be an extra $25 fee because he didn't want to mess with the boat ramp because he wanted that money done. He wanted to know how many boats, payout was done, the whole 9 yards. But you got a great team helping you, Trip, and that will help make it a lot easier because you guys all know a lot of tournament trails around here. It's usually one, maybe two people run the whole daggone event. So, but how are things set up for the event? Are is any more vendors popped in, or are we still looking the same lineup as we had before?
We kind of got our same lineup. We
Okay.
didn't really go crazy marketing sponsorship this year. We wanted to get this first year behind us and under our belt before we kind of knew and had the materials to make sure that we could deliver what we promised. Our biggest thing was we promised $10,000 payout. We've delivered that, and now we're going to release tonight or first thing. Well, I guess it'll be today when this airs.
Mm-hmm.
We will have the pay schedule that all the places we're paying. Which we probably should have done that a little bit before, but I'm kind of new at this. We're doing the best we can. We're looking forward to it. We're gonna have a great event next year. We're gonna bring it back hopefully again. Um, it's downtown today. The stage is going in. The hype's getting built up. I've been on the phone with the DJ. Saturday's weigh-in's going to be
Heck yeah.
booked. Um, my guy at Woodpecker Designs and Plaques sent me pictures of the trophies. I got a 3 foot tall trophy for first place.
Holy
Nice.
cow. Good
Wow.
God.
It's cool. Heather, the downtown partnership, I got a check. One of the big cool checks. I've never held one because I've never won anything like that before. But I got to hold a blank check today. I just need somebody to sign it so I can cash it.
That's cool.
Mm.
So things are getting real. Everything's popping. We've got a lot of interest, a lot of guys signing up. It's all coming together. I've got a great team. I've got Steve Camp. I've got Tiffany helping. I've got Blake Sharp. And everybody I keep talking to, I'm talking to boat dealers and people that are suddenly now popping up and want to be involved. And it's just too short notice. But when I tell them who's involved, they keep telling me that, man, you got the Virginia Dream Team.
That's
Is
awesome.
there anybody better? And we're super excited. Donnie Bell at James River has been huge helping me here at the end too. Huge shout out to him and all he's done and called me today and said, man, let me know. I'll launch my boat early Friday and I'll roll my sleeves up and do whatever I got to. And it's great people down here in Hopewell and in this industry and the fishing community. They're ready to help and ready to do it.
All right. So
Um,
weigh-in is the event is from 7 to 3, correct?
no, the event is running 6 to 2.
That's what I didn't want to hear. That means I got to push the gas pedal just a little bit harder to get down there, daggone it.
Well,
Oh,
we'll
whatever.
give
I
you
heard you were camping.
I am, but I'm leaving from work at 10:30 and coming home and then rolling down. Somebody has to work a 9 to 5.
But we're
Yeah.
going to do the best we can. I promise you we'll have cold beer when you get here.
Good, because they're going to need it,
Yeah.
daggone
Uh,
it.
but
All right.
super happy
So
to register
the only
online.
thing I think we haven't really talked about, and I know you were kind of working on that a little bit, some hotel discounts or anything. Did anything come of that that anybody needs to know if they're making a last minute run or a recommendation for a hotel?
we weren't able to find anybody that had hookups for boats, to be able to, hook the boat up to charge.
Right.
We're looking, and we're going to have to broaden our search next year and try to partner maybe with a hotel that's maybe a little bit further from the marina, but has the accommodations that everybody needs. So it's one of those things that's on our radar. I know Tiffany and I have talked. She's going to be very busy starting in December this year, getting ready for this and
Yeah.
help tie in some of these loose ends. So she's, being the ambassador for this tournament. We're super excited that she's coming on board for a full year of helping. Steve has already said next year he's on board. So, unfortunately, I wasn't able to deliver the hotel
That's
discount
okay.
this year, but I have a gut feeling that next year this is going to be crazy.
All right. So you guys heard it right here. Make sure you get involved. You can sign up all the way up until the morning of the event. It's 200, correct?
$200 and
$200.
big fish.
It includes big fish. So come on out and support the town. Stay afterwards. Bring the wife, the family, the children, and hang out and make a weekend out of it. I think I'm staying at like South 40 Campground or something like that. It's called. It's about 25 minutes away.
Yeah, it's not bad. I actually drove by it the other day.
Oh, sweet.
So it's probably about 20-25 minutes back.
Hey, I'm good with that.
It's all
So
back,
yeah.
it's hammered down.
So if you guys are staying South 40 and you guys want to hang out, that's where Carter will be. But dude, guys, thank you for coming on. Thanks for talking to us about the event. Looking forward to seeing everyone there, and maybe meeting a bunch of new people on top of that. And like I said the last show, guys, it's great to go somewhere different. And this will be a place that I've never been before. So really, really excited about that. Is there anything left that we can tell anybody? This is the last time.
Yes, I have something.
Go for it.
Okay, so Jacob, Jacob, right?
Yes.
He is going to be our media boat. So he's going to help us like drive me around so that I can collect photos, videos, live feed, whatever with Trip. So if you see the media boat, like give us a wave, give us a thumbs up, hoot and holler. Like we really want this to be a fun, engaging tournament. So yeah, just if you see us, say hi.
Yeah, we even have wireless mic. So if you want to get on, we can toss you a mic if you want to talk a little bit, or give us a rundown of what's going on in the water. Let me know. We'll throw a mic over.
All right, guys, you heard it right here. Hopewell, Virginia, this weekend starts Friday morning, and field cuts down to 25 on Saturday. So it's going to be a great event, and someone's going to take home, you guys heard it, a 3-foot trophy. All right, guys, Trip, Tiffany, man, the event's going to be awesome. Only thing I hope is not another weekend in the rain, because every time I have taken that tent out this year in 2024, it has rained. Yes, I have not had a dry event so far in the tent, except for the first time. But we're not here to talk about that. But let's talk about what is happening in the world of tournament bass fishing. And we all know, which actually, some people kind of knew before I did, which was kind of crazy because I usually try to keep everything, that the NPFL would ban forward-facing sonar for the 2025 season. And then yesterday, Bassmaster dropped its, forward-facing sonar deal where, number of transducers. But we'd already kind of talked about that a little bit, man, because we already kind of, that was already coming through the grapevine that, that they were going to limit the amount of transducers, limit the amount of inches of screen. And what was the third part? It was one more thing that they were going to. Yes, that's it.
Yeah. No turrets, no electronic trolling motor brakes, and you can't use the newest live scope transducer, the Ocean one.
But it wasn't a whole lot of people running that anyway. From that video, but it could have changed. I mean, I can't say that. I can't say that at all. But there was like during that Zaldane video, there was like 4 or 5 that he interviewed, maybe 3 out of the whole bunch he interviewed that were actually running it.
Well, Hamner was running.
Yes. Oh yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, I've got some friends that are pros and I've seen it. The big key to it is to be able to put it in perspective mode, because you can literally see the balls of shad and see the bass out there. Everybody wants to tell you, oh, it's just used for, but it's really not. You can see the balls of shad out there in this
Yeah.
wide open area and watch the bass swimming around.
It's
Pretty,
360 on steroids, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
more like a 180 or 80, whatever it is. But yeah, it's pretty cool. I've got some pro buddies that have sent me some shots, and I'm like, yeah.
It's neat, and I don't know why they specifically banned that. Like Perfect World, I think what they should have said is like no more technology after this point, personally. But I get it. Like they allowed what they did. The eliminating turrets and electric trolling motor brakes, I didn't see that coming again on my bingo card for
No,
things
I
they were
didn't
gonna.
see that. That kind of, I mean,
But
okay.
why was there a lot of complaining about that? And you want some tinfoil hat conspiracy theories? Hummingbird put their turret on sale about 3 months ago. So did they know? Was this already baked into the cake over the summer that this was leaving?
That's
Wow.
that's definitely true. I didn't see that as well. So what we thought about doing tonight, guys, is we were looking at the 70 comments that you guys made on the NPFL banning forward facing sonar, and we picked a few. And I want to start with we. I know Thomas sent me three, but I like one that said, as long as the playing field is level, it should be okay. And I kind of agree with that as well. And that's what they're really doing, is they're kind of leveling the playing field. So, thoughts?
I applaud it. I think it was a great move on their part. It they set themselves apart from everybody else, and we can just see what happens. Everybody's got their opinion as to what's going to happen this year when you take it away. Some things will drop down. Depends on what time of year you're there as to how the fishing's going to be.
I kind of take it as, I understand what they did. And, the NPFL really has always been for the working man. And that's what they kind of say that their league is for, because they don't have, it's supposed to be where, an old person go work 3 weeks, come out and fish a week, and then they go back to work for 3 weeks and come out and fish a week and whatever. But, that's what they kind of geared to. And I guess they were, but we've also had this conversation too, that forward facing sonar, all of it's going to come down. Price is going to come down next year. Probably drop like another $500, like everything else does. But it's just kind of weird how they all of a sudden just said we're going to ban it instead of reducing like Bassmaster did.
And I think I know where Geek's gonna go with this, so I'll get ahead of the curb here, because that's going to tie into my argument here, which is separating out the fishing part of it from the business part of it. Marketing wise, what was so brilliant about this is they got 48 hours of leading every headline, and there were so many people like, what the hell is NPFL? So from the business marketing standpoint, tip of the cap to them. This was brilliant. I feel like they got some insider information knowing that MLF and Bass won't do this. And so they're like, hey, let's strike hot. Let's have the headlines for 48 hours before they come out, and let's see what happens. And so with that regard, well done, guys. You win again. I keep saying NPFL so far is how you run a business, where we're not going to compete with those two drama queens. We're just going to do our thing. And if you want to shop here, fantastic. We'd love to have you.
Yeah, because if you guys saw the NPFL post, and before I got home, and I get off at like 4:00, it already had about 800 shares.
Oh, God,
and before I went to bed, is over 1,000. Go ahead, Geek.
I'm going to say it. I'm never as well spoken as Thomas, so I'm just going to put it in my. I'm going to put it in my terms. It's a smash and grab, right? What they're hoping to do is a couple of different things. They're hoping to, yes, set themselves apart, but they're also hoping to pull, because now they've got $100,000 purse for every tournament. Now they've got a championship. They've already got that backing. They don't have, you can go to their website, they do not have sponsorship from an electronics company.
Right.
So they don't have to worry about it. Now, what they've done is they've said, hey, all you guys that's on the Bassmaster Elite and MLF, we're going to make sure, because we did it last year, that we announce our schedule after those so you can come fish. And you're not going to have it. So they're going to pull these guys who don't like it, these older guys who are going to come in. Now, my opinion is, to address the question directly, and this leads into it, is it it's a genius business move from them. You guys are exactly right. But are the older guys really going to come in and be in the top 10 again? Or
No.
I think it's there. And there's also the business side of it from the sponsorship dollars, because, I've heard from several companies, hard bait companies, that sales are down. Now, I've got an opinion on that we'll talk about later. But as far as leveling the playing field, no, it's not leveling the playing field. Everybody gets the same equipment. You can use, I mean, it's not, it was level already. It doesn't level anything.
We talked about this on the call-in show last night, and I got some great varied opinions on this. And two things that stuck out to me was, I apologize if you're listening to this now. I forgot your name from our comment section, but anglers are just politicians with fishing rods. And this is going to be a great opportunity for them to actually, is it the money or is it your ethics? If you have a league that is now saying that we are for everything that you morally say that you stand for, will Clark Wendland move? Will these people move over? And I think the answer is no, they won't. So it's not really about that, is it? Let's say NPFL doubles the amount you could win. Will they move over? And I think this is going to be a big nut up or shut up opportunity. And I'm going to go on the record and say this now. I think if Bass and MLF flipped and said that they were going to go no forward-facing sonar, I think the NPFL would be like, hey, guys, you can use whatever you want. We don't care. Come on over. Yeah. Which is what we need, that counterbalance, which that's what I'm hopeful for with the NPFL. They will always be that counterbalance that we need.
I like what you just said there, Thomas. Sorry, Geek. I like what you just said there real quick. And that will, Clark and them make the jump, and will they leave the elites? That's a great question. It really is, because, the ones that have thrown up such a stink about it, are they going to leave the Elite Series? And that's no, because like you said, they would have to requalify to get back in. They'd have to go through the opens if they decide to leave. Let's say, and that happened on the Major League Fishing side when a lot of the guys left to go fish the Bass Pro Series that, now a third of them, and I'm not talking about the ones that were kicked out this year, but a third of them are all fishing the opens trying to get back in the daggone elites.
And that was a big stink back then too. But
yes,
at least, I think the real reason is they sucked at every fish counts, but they said, we want to go back to Bass. We don't like this. And they left. I don't think you're going to see that mass migration. I really don't. And I think that really comes into question. What does that actually mean by these people making this big stink?
Yeah. And I don't mean they're going to leave. I think you're going to see what you see out of Kyle Welcher, I think you're going to see more of those guys fish both series. And that, because that only lends to, the NPLF more eyes, because these guys are bringing people like Welcher, people like Greg Hackney, because at one point in time, Hackney was going to fish the NPFL. So if they pull these guys over, that's just more eyes on them. Now, 2-3 years from now, they can go, well, okay, guys, we're going to lift the ban. I mean, that's because they've got no feeder system in place. You just send a resume in or call them up and ask them. If they've got a spot, you're in. There's no, hey, you got to win so many or you drop out. There's no qualification to get into that league. It's, do you have the money and do we have an open spot?
And that's why,
and that's not bad. That's how FLW ran for years. But,
and a lot of people jumped in because, after last year when they went to the $100,000 payout, that's why a lot of the guys jumped in and, decided to fish the 2 series. John Cox is one of them. And now it's a few of the Major League Fishing guys that are fishing both series as well, because that $100,000 payout, because we all know if you're not fishing, your sponsors can't see your logo and they
That's
can't
right.
see the banners on the boats and the trucks and the wraps and all that great stuff. But I like what you guys were talking about earlier about the baits. And, that's been a big discussion as well because, like, I don't know if you brought up, we have a group conversation. We always talk during the week ourselves because it's so much. But, sales have been down and a lot of people have been buying these forward facing sonar baits, and that's what's been selling. So you kind of wonder now, like we were talking about, okay, they've banned forward facing sonar. Do you think a lot of these companies that were spending money with Bassmaster be like, oh, well, maybe the guys will start using my crankbaits again over here at the NPFL, or they'll start using this other bait or that bait. But I'm just throwing it out there that, and plus with what NPFL is bringing now, if you guys haven't seen, they got their own TV network. I can't remember what it's called, to be honest, because I watched this weekend. I still can't remember, but they got a great TV network set up. They got everything lined up. So, I mean, besides having that Fox or that, I think Major League Fishing's got CBS Sports, I think, in Discovery. It's those two together or one of those together. But besides having that major TV, they've got a great setup already, ready to go. So, I mean, you kind of might think for them it'd be okay, we might get more sponsors out of it.
Well, that's what they're hoping for because my point is they're hoping to bring some of these guys over. Again, not that they're going to leave MLF, but that because that's the one thing about the NPFL. They've done a real good job of working around the schedules of the other two series, allowing those guys to be able to come and compete on both tours, whatever they want. And let's face it, the more chances you have to win money, the more chances you are going to make a living at fishing without having to do other things. So I think what they're doing right now is they're saying, let's bring John Cox. Let's bring Jacob Wheeler. Let's bring their audience to our platform because they don't have it right now.
No,
and
they
this
don't.
is a good shot. I don't know their numbers, but I'm sure that their numbers are not good enough to pull enough sponsors right now. But if you bring guys who are talent and bring their already made audience with them, now you've just grown your numbers.
And I think what we also need to keep in mind here is the novelty of this will have a huge shot in the arm for their viewing figures. And I think it'll work two ways. Way number one, it's going to help them if they want to attract more sponsorships. But then there's also going to be even more of a calling for people to ban forward-facing sonar because they will point and say, look at the showings from the opening day of this tournament.
Right.
You need to take a step back, and this has to be a 1 or 2 year thing to actually see the average of it. Because I saw some of my comment section a lot from yesterday's live stream where they're saying like this was like one of Bass's best years viewing figure wise.
Yes.
And
I
don't know if that's true or not.
Milliken, who seen a video by him today, and he said in the meeting that the first two tournaments of the year, which were, by the way, huge forward-facing tournaments, were two of the best ratings they had ever in the history of this.
So, yeah, like how will this all pan out with the viewing? Like, again, how much of this is just a very loud minority? We got to keep getting back to that.
Yes.
Go ahead, Bruce. I'm gonna let you get in here real quick.
Yeah, Bruce, feel free, man. Jump right in and yell at us.
No. Anyway, no, I do agree. I think it's something that's going to stand out. I don't think it's a huge majority that against it. I just think it's too much. I mean, you've got 4 transducers on the boat, 82 inches of screen coverage on your boat. I think that's what the biggest thing is that everybody's trying to look at is from a safety standpoint, what can we do to make sure our anglers are safe out on the water? I mean, JT Kenny's a short little guy. He's sitting behind 2 12-inch screens or 4 of them. What can he really see?
It's true. All right, let's read some of his comments, everybody. We got the first one here. Forward facing FFS is the LGBTQ of the fishing world. What in the world? Where did people come up with this stuff? Holy cow!
I'm going to give one statement on that. I think the haters are the LGBTQ forward face because they're loud and obnoxious, and most of them probably got blue hair and broke.
They're probably Cowboys fans too, honestly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, damn.
I don't know. I just like, are we really doing this in the fishing community? Like, come on. Are we having this kind of childish antics about this? And I'm not trying to take the over-hire road here, but let's keep this argument semi-civil and not let it break down to every other argument that's on the internet. But it's like a ball that was pushed down a hill, and you can see how this thing has changed over time, and it's insane.
Well, right. You take the high road. I'll
go ahead, Bruce.
I wish we had social media back in the day when all the graphs started coming out. I'd like to know, was it the same? Were people hollering that it was the devil? It's going to kill fishing. I'd really like to know back then. But
the next comment we have here, it's not even fishing, it's a video game. Forward-facing sonar should be banned from tournament use forever. It's a total disgrace to the sport and ruins the entire hierarchy of talent. I don't believe that at all. I really don't. You still have to catch them. We've talked about that so many times. You still have to use the right bait. You still have to use the right lure. Yes, the cool thing about it is, and we saw that on the final event, Bassmaster Series event, that the guys were targeting 5-pound fish. And that's the only difference. They still have to bite. They still have to eat. I mean, you can't just scoop it off the net.
Now I want to make two statements. First off, the 5-pound fish. They sure were catching a lot of 2-pounders to target 5-pounders.
Yes.
I mean, that maybe it's me, but they were sure catching an awful lot of 2-pounders and culling, to have 5-pounders. And then to me, I go back to, look, you've built this feeder system. People, dads, friends, local anglers have put in all kinds of work to get these kids involved in the sport, to help grow the sport.
Mm-hmm.
And now you hear, we're against it. We won't Kevin Van Dam back. To me, are you selling your future for, the past or the here and now? Because there's a lot of people that's gone through. Thomas, you fished, in college and high school, and there's a lot of people that have put a lot of time into helping us start that feeder system, grow that feeder system.
Oh, yeah.
And I think we need to focus on keeping those people involved and engaged in the sport.
And it's interesting how this is broken down into this attack on the young angler. It's an incessant vitriol attack on the young angler. And the thing that keeps coming up that's just, I can't get out of my head, is always saying it's like a video game in a negative light. And I keep coming back like why that sticks in my craw so much. And it's because it's ageist. If you guys don't know, the video game industry, and I even pulled up the stats for the show, it made $26 billion last year, and it's projected to have over $300 billion by 2026. Yeah. It is bigger than TV, film, streaming, and music industries combined. It is the biggest industry out there. And it just feels a little antiquated to say like, well, it's just a video game. It's like, this is the pop music. You sound like the people, the dads and the moms that listen to the Rolling Stones. It's like, I just don't like this rock and roll. It's like, this is it. You're here now. And you're showing your age when you constantly just refer back to it like, oh, it's just a video game. It's not fishing. This is the world we live in. Whether you're flying a drone for the government, whether you're playing it with your friends or that's the culture now. And it just automatically shows your age and where your viewpoint is at when that is how you want to portray this in a negative light.
So, guys, here's a little story here for you guys. I drove a forklift in my last job, and between the generations of the forklift, they changed how you actually control the forklift because they said the first forklift I had an Atari joystick. The second one I had the flight simulator joystick, which you pull. Okay, here you go. You just pulled up
Yeah.
and you went forward, just like the flight simulator. You flew the plane forward.
That's
And
cool.
so they changed that joystick to control fork trucks based on the kids and what they were used to and playing games and all this other stuff, because that's what the kids were used to already. So, I mean, and I like what Geek said right there about the feeder system, and that's so important. And for you guys out there who keep saying this crap about it's a rich man sport, I'm sorry. Bass fishing has always been a rich man sport. I hate to say that, even in the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s. You got to figure, even if the boat was $4,000 back then, that 4,000 now is probably 25 to $30,000. And I mean, you guys can do the math on the rest of it, but I mean, it still has always been a rich working man's sport. It really has. I mean, and it's nothing you can do about that. The problem is now with the technology, and the boats have just went crazy. I mean, we really don't need, I don't want to say that. We probably really don't need half the crap that's on the boats now. It's just like your car. I mean, you can't work on your damn car anymore. I mean, if you go back probably about 5 to 10 years ago, I could do pretty much everything that I needed to do. Change the alternator, change the starter. I've done all that stuff, guys, on your car. Now you have to have a computer. You have to have a licensed technician at $100 an hour to work on your vehicles.
Yeah.
And that's where we've gotten with boats, because with technology, but it's there it is. It's called technology. And it's just come to that point now that, the garages are full. I mean, I'm hearing people drop their boats off and they will get it back at the end of the season.
Yeah, 3 months. It's,
An interesting question, and I would love people to answer this in the comment section. Maybe I'll throw this up on my channel. If technology does bring the next generation in, and that would be the thing to grow the sport, how many people are willing to let the sport shrink or die to keep it old school versus allowing technology to promote it and keep it alive for the next generation? Based on the comment section, a lot of people are fine with letting it burn as they leave.
Yeah, I mean, I know I'm sitting here on social media right now, scrolling through and watching, because everybody's making a comment from Bassmaster and getting their opinion and everybody's feelings out there. But it's one of them things where you're gonna have to live or die by it. I mean, you really are. And I guess my next question about that is, do you guys think that this will start to come down, through your local tournament series, or now since someone has stood up, do you think Bassmaster could possibly say, hey, no forward-facing sonar for the Bass Nation of Virginia or Bass Nation of Tennessee, and kind of start to level that playing field as well? I haven't heard anything yet. This is just a conversation. Go for it.
I think they're going to try to do a complete slow rollout. They want the NPFL to have an absolute fantastic season, a stellar season, because it could give them justification to do whatever they want. I think Bass and Major League Fishing are completely gutless. They have no morals, and they will do wherever the wind and the money blows. If they had some tournament organization say, like, hey, we want you to promote this tournament where you show us the top 10 largemouth recipes and you cook up the fish, as long as the check cleared, they'd do it, because that's who they are. But they don't want to push too hard. And the fact that they went this far with what they're doing now was shocking, but it took how much pressure to get them to even nudge this much. So I don't know. Time will tell. The economic impact, and this is, I am actually quite poor and have no sponsors, so I don't know how sponsorship contracts work, but if you put these things into place, let's say you're running the brand new Garmin transducer, and now, by the way, that boat can't be sold with that. How does that affect your contract? Where does that go? And I know it's like, well, it's just that transducer, but let's just say you have that boat decked out to the nines with all that stuff. do you eat that cost or does the company? Well, I talked to some of my friends on a group chat. They're like, well, this just affects the, just bass, not the opens. Okay, what if MLF did this and it trickled down all the way to the BFLs? I don't think people have thought about that trickle effect. If you made some massive sweep of no forward facing sonar, how many boats would be affected by that?
And, even more on that, let's talk about, so we say the top tier can't use it, right?
Right.
Top tier can't use it, but everybody else can. So I've said it over and over and over. I have already seen how the bass are reacting because it's been adopted since it came out, since it was just pan optics here. I live in the home of the original Demiki rig, right? So these guys are always fishing deep. It's not like we can go out and go flipping any time of the year. You come here and you throw a Cinco right now, good luck, because you better have an hour to wait for it to get to where you can't even see it, right? Unless you got it weighted. But the point I'm making, if everybody else, I'm not fishing tournaments. I paid a lot of money for mine. I'm not giving it back. I'm going to go out there and use it because I paid a lot of money for it. So all these guys that are fishing these tournaments and fishing for fun, are moving these fish around, are putting more pressure on these fish. How's it going to affect the pros who now can't use it? It's going to change, just like side imaging did on the Tennessee River when ledge fishing was exploding in popularity. It's going to change how these fish group, how they move, where they live. The only reason the minnow is so good right now is because these open water bass have never seen boat pressure. Never, ever, ever in the history of the lake.
So go ahead.
I was like, just to tie this into what I like to talk about, which is the conservation side of things. When you keep having no shoreline cover and your state dumps every Christmas tree in your state in the lake, all the fish congregate offshore. And so you have this perfect storm with a lot like Kerr Reservoir. Because of how they fluctuate that place, every tree, if there's one tree that's actually has water on it, there's like 6 fish. Otherwise, they're all out in the ether. This has unlocked that. With the NPFL, what would be cool, if you're listening, guys, you start structuring your schedule for lakes that specifically have a shallow water bite. That would be awesome if that's what you did versus going to like the ocean of Lake Erie with no scope, which would be boring. So, but you could play with your schedule some,
So they do have a pretty good schedule for the NPFL, and they do go to a lot of the smaller lakes. So that is one good thing for them. In the comments section, we did see, we got one here called, when bass was at Toledo Bend, the guys not using it was averaging 15 pounds a day. The guys using was averaging 20 to 25 pounds a day. And they said, do you want to see the small bags and wonder what if, or use it and see what the lake can offer up? And that's true. Like what Geek was saying right there is, seeing uncharted waters and catching bigger bass.
So, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, it's like going to a home run derby. It's like going to a home run derby and, seeing 5 home runs and seeing 25 when everybody's on steroids.
Yeah, I mean, the steroid conversation, Brian, this is it, because this is what my comments are. Oh, steroids, but that was illegal and people were cheating. Like,
yes.
Completely 2 different arguments there.
Yeah.
But that's what everybody keeps saying is forward-facing sonar is cheating as well. Let's move on.
Well, hey, I've been having a conversation with a buddy of mine. Speaking of which, we always hear the baseball analogies, we hear the hunting analogies, right? Anybody use hydrowave? And I can tell you right now, yes. I can tell you right now, ledge fishing, there's days that hydrowave has bought me 2 to 3 more bass guaranteed. I guaranteed.
Yeah, that kind of blew under the wind there. I thought Kevin Van Dam and all them first came out that hydrowave, and so he's promoting it, and that was a big thing like about 5 to 10 years ago.
Now in deer hunting, turkey hunting, unless it is a nuisance species you can't use electronic calls
Yeah.
in hunting. So you
that.
can't use an electronic deer call or turkey gobble, but we can use it here. So you know what I say? Ban hydrowave.
Bam. All right, so we had another comment, and it was going back to my comment earlier. Needs to be banned on state levels, and
Factually inaccurate.
and yeah, and then it's killing lakes and god awful unsafe. People staring at the screen and not paying attention to what's going on around them.
But rowboats are allowed?
Yeah.
Those are like kamikaze torpedoes. I have actually been in a John boat when I was hit by one of those things because they didn't have a mirror and they ran right into the side of us. Like, anyway, sorry.
Okay.
No, you're right. I mean, come on now. So number one, what is unsafe about it? I mean, you're on a trolling motor. So are you saying I'm going to run into you, or you're worried that I'm out in the middle of the lake and you're just pissed because you're going down the lake going, look at that idiot, he's in the middle of the lake, what a moron. Well, I mean, hey, bro, I'm standing there. You see me from a mile away. I think it's your job not to run me down.
Mhm.
You know, could be wrong, but
I think, to be honest, a lot of it was some of the final events we saw up north and being out there in those wakes and the waves, and people.
But that's always the way that's been.
And yes, 100%. But that's I kind of take that as someone being a professional. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you guys know what you're getting up against, and guys, a lot of these anglers have fished these bodies of water more than one time, probably more than 2, 3, 4 times.
Oh yeah.
So they know what they're up against when it comes to that. And hopefully, that's why we see John Cruz working out, and hopefully everybody else works out as well. See here. We had a bunch of good ones. I'll be watching for sure. A lot of people will be watching the NPFL. And that gets back to the comment that we made earlier that it's going to be probably a lot of new people because of what happened. Another one, I've got a couple that says it's great to see it gone. Thank God it's gone. So I got here one, and then we're going to wrap it up with this one, and then we're going to wrap the whole thing up. So what's next? Spot lock, power poles, tungsten sinkers, laser sharp hooks, lithium batteries, braided line, fluorocarbon line. Everything evolves and improves. And that pretty much wraps it up. I mean, that's a great way to end, to be honest, and that's 100% true.
I think we should go back to 50 horsepower boats, tillers only, and we should be using 5-foot pistol grips.
Oh, jeez. No. But, this gentleman is 100% right. Everything in our sport has evolved. And, there's always been controversy, not to this level that we are facing now. We had controversy about tungsten like a couple years ago in California and stuff like that. And we've had different controversies, but we've never had one to the level that forward-facing Sonar has ever brought.
But now the one that I like is the one that said, that's how you end the careers of all the college and high schoolers.
By taking it away.
By taking it away. And I'm going, huh? They got to learn how to fish first.
That goes back to the saying, this has always killed me. Well, you don't even have to know how to find fish with this thing. Yeah, you do, because you can't see them if you can't find them.
Yeah, and Bruce, those comments, that's what just gets me. It's just such the spite to the young anglers. And it was like they were very proper a year ago, and they're just getting to the point of if you're 25, if your birth date ends with 2020, man, you shouldn't be fishing. And it's it's getting that on the nose, and it's you are literally cutting your nose off to spite your face here with your venom, and that's just. I never expected it to get this bad. I really didn't.
Yeah, nobody really did, to be honest, because, just like we get back to the home run derby and all like that, we all got used to seeing these giant bags of fish being weighed in. And, then the complaining started that we're just watching the backs of heads. And then with technology now, we can watch their screen. Bruce, you've brought that up as well, where you can learn from that as we're watching their screen and seeing how they're setting up and how they're presenting the lore. So I mean, it's just another way of teaching, if you ask me. I mean, it's no different than me teaching you how to code on your computer or something like that. I mean, if we share screens that we can do on Zoom or whatever, and I teach you how to do something on the internet. So it's one of those.
Work for me.
I know, but it's one of those things that we're taking a step back, if you ask me.
I agree with you.
Yeah, I agree. And I even want to kind of circle back to the lure manufacturers and these companies losing money. I said it in an episode we talked about a little while back. Like, I'm excited because to me it opens up a whole new innovation, like with Duo, the Heartbeat 75. That's an incredible hard bait. So all these companies that whine, stop buying everybody, stop copying everybody's lures, and get innovative. Go find those guys who are really good at this and figure out what it is, because what it is that could really be the next game-changing bait.
But
It's out there.
I want to make my 80th generation of a square bill. It's going to be a game changer.
Let me put no thought and just repeat. That's what a lot of these big companies, I've said all the time, big companies don't innovate. Well, they buy the innovations.
American companies, because you said Duo.
True. Yeah, it's true.
It's ridiculous how bad it's gotten to where it's what will Japanese create and then we'll copy them, because
how can we rip it off?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I like what you guys said. It's funny. I was at the classic, Red Crest. I was at Red Crest, and there was a guy talking, and I don't know the gentleman's name, and someone was talking to him, and he goes, "What type of products you guys have?" Well, we pretty much got what everyone else has, maybe one or two different colors thrown in. And with forward-facing sonar, like you were saying, Geek, it has pushed the envelope on a lot of different companies to innovate and come out with new products. And a lot of new products we haven't seen because it has been probably, I want to say, 5 to 10 years of stale.
Yeah.
It really has. It hasn't been anything really, really introduced to the market that was a game freaking changer.
Yeah.
Because we all see the crap from iCast, and we've seen the bats, and we've seen the birds, and we've seen some other crazy stuff from iCast.
Yeah.
But we really haven't seen a game changing lure in quite a long time.
Since probably the chatterbait.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I would say a subcategory that would be the glide bait craze. That would be the closest thing, but I agree. The chatterbait was the last universal.
Yeah. But we're learning more, and I think that's the thing. If people will just calm down. Number one, we've not got enough data, enough time to make decisions. Truthfully. I mean, let's just take a breath. Let's see how things pan out. Let's let everybody be either love it, hate it, whatever. But if nothing else, we're learning more about fish behavior and fish reaction to lures than ever before, which in my opinion, it's going to hurt those guys that sit on their hands. Yeah, sure, but fine. That's business. That's how business works. If you're not ahead, you're behind. That's how it works.
Mm-hmm.
At one point in time, the Smithwick was the best jerkbait in the world, right?
Oh yes.
It's been passed, but which I still love them. I have to say,
but, baits all come back. Baits come back around, and they make that generation. And
but the thing of it is we are now able to learn the truth about reactions, how they relate to cover, how they relate in the water column, how they relate to, boat noise, bait noise. I mean, there's so much we could do to make some really incredible baits in the future if people would just shut up and calm down and think, man.
Boom.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. That's it.
All right. That was Geeks wrap up right there. That was great,
Yeah.
by the way. That was really excellent. Thomas, we'll go back to you. Any closing words for you, brother?
I got nothing. Like, can we talk about fishing?
Yeah.
Every show is, and that's just like on my channel too, when we do the call-in shows, just to get people's thoughts. It's there's so much energy around this, and I get it because in general, if you're on social media, people are more passionate about complaining than actually saying nice things. Spoiler, if you didn't know this. So yeah, it'll be interesting. Once we get through MLF, they'll do their drop, and that'll hopefully be the last time we talk about this stuff, and we can move on to more fun stuff.
We're definitely looking at moving forward on this, but we really didn't need to talk about it because I mean it's after getting the news and the information of what's happened the last couple of days. And just like I want to reiterate what Thomas said right there. I know a lot of you guys don't like Slick Johnson. Take him, leave him. There's another one out there you guys don't like, but you love drama. I hate to say it because I try to keep up with as much of this Bassmaster as I freaking can and a full-time job. And Slick kind of helps us do that. And Slick, he went to an NPFL event this year, and he raved about it. He went to a Bassmaster event, raved about that, and highly praised NPFL for guys. The name of 5 guys, 6 people running the NPFL event. I mean, and they do an excellent job. Get to an NPFL event. If there's one close to you this year, what I tell you, Bruce, there's 2 events left this year. If you can't look at next year's schedule. I would love to see them come close to us because I'll tell you one thing. If there is one, I will make sure I'm off and I will go support and I will drive there myself to hang out with everybody because they do an excellent job. But, we love this drama. I mean, Danielle said never. This is looking from a lady who knew nothing about tournament bass fishing. She saw more drama at a fishing tournament than she saw at a woman's salon on a Saturday morning with them. You guys know what happens, all the chatter.
Oh, yeah.
And she's like, wow, I never thought bass fishing was like this, tournament bass fishing. So, I mean, we love, for some reason, the drama. I mean, that's what's keeping this whole thing going is the drama. If we just, kind of let it go, and you all decide whether you want to get it or not get it. I mean, that's it. I mean, do you want to cash checks or not cash checks? And that's what's really coming down to this whole entire technology deal. And, we're dealing with that on our side of it, from the non-fishing, the computer, technology, AI, all that stuff that's coming out right now. On my side of it, we're dealing with that as well. So, I mean, there's my take on it. We're going to leave it at Bruce, let you give us your opinion and your final thoughts, sir.
I think it's here to stay. I don't think it's going away. I just say, let's go get in the boat and go fishing. Hey, I got a story. There's my top baits. Come on, let's go.
So, guys, make sure you check Bruce out. Bruce been writing for the Basscast for almost a decade now. Bruce is my first writer. And to this day, it's been so daggone long we've been together. I don't even remember how we freaking met because we've had a relationship so daggone long. It's crazy. And he's helped me more than you guys can ever know. Bruce writes for our newsletter. Your newsletter story, it was a great story. A lot of people loved it. We actually talked about it at the table yesterday. And Bruce got his top baits for September out right now as well. So head on over and check all that out on thebasscast.com. Geek, what you got going on for us, man?
Man, like I always say, just banging and slanging them videos out, that's about it, man. Just, hit the channel, hit that sub button, hit that notification, join the 100% Watch Squad. We hit 80,000 and we are under 3, I think, right at a little over 300 away from 81.
Awesome.
Things have been going well. Got a really cool video dropping tomorrow about a live scope bait.
Boom.
So come on down.
Check it out. All right, Thomas, how many we got in the queue? Guys, if you guys don't, I think we got the best 3 right here in Central Virginia. And Thomas has an excellent podcast show. what do you, 1 or 2 lives a week, 1 live a week, 3 shows a week?
We have a few shows. My goal this year was this will be our 3-year anniversary, I think, this November, and I want to hit 300 podcast episodes. That doesn't include our weekly live stream events here. So I think we're going to hit that very easily at this point. The big news, my Patreon supporters have known about this, is we got the logo trademarked and everything for Casting for Conservation. That's going to be our 501c3 is Casting for Conservation. The paperwork to do this, my God, it's been everything I've been doing for the past 4 weeks. I'm getting that sent in. We are only 97 Patreon supporters away from this being an official 501c3 nonprofit where we're going to be doing supplemental F1 fish stockings in Virginia and Maryland. We're going to start picking lakes to do that in. We're going to do smallmouth stockings in rivers and that need it. And boat ramp and facility restoration, because there are so many facilities that just suck. And I want to pick at least one a year that we can pick and actually fix up. So that's the right now the origins for Casting for Conservation. It'll hopefully be live next year when we get 97 more Patreon supporters.
So you guys heard it right there. 97 more Patreon supporters. Let's get the numbers up, and you guys make sure you support him as well. The Basscast is a supporter of his Patreon. I'll tell you this right now. I love what Thomas does. His show is excellent. I wish I had more time, but I don't, because this thing sucks the life out of me, which is awesome, but it really does. And man, I want, you guys all know, me and Geek have been talking about it before we brought Thomas on. We really want to do this full time. I've got 2 more years of college, and I'm hoping I can go full time and do this. I love it. I love being with you guys, hanging out. I love going to the tournaments. I love the whole daggone thing, and I really would like to do it more and more and more. So, guys, that's it. Appreciate you guys coming on. Appreciate you guys listening. Forward Facing Sonar, if you guys want to make your comments under this show, we'd love to hear them. We'd love to get your feedback. There were 70 comments made under the NPFL. We just went through a few of them tonight and read what you guys have said. But let's hope. I'm gonna hope that 2025 just simmers down. Just simmer down, everybody. Let's let 2025 play out. I like I like the 2025. Let's let it play out. Let's see what happens. And, the NPFL could go back. I mean, it could be one of those deals where Major League Fishing, I mean, they went to every fish counts, back to 5, back to every fish counts. It might go back, which, everybody right now is testing the waters to see what's going to happen. And I believe 2025 will be the best year ever. So appreciate you guys. Have a great weekend, everyone. And you guys all know I'll be on the road making it happen.